Every single morning, before the world speaks to you, another voice has already begun the conversation. It speaks before you leave your bed, before you check your phone, before you look in the mirror, before anyone has the chance to influence your mood. That voice is your own. Most people never stop to listen to it. They wake up replaying yesterday's failures. They remember the rejection, the mistake, the disappointment, the criticism. Before the day has even begun, they've already convinced themselves that today will be no different from yesterday. Without realizing it, they start each morning carrying the weight of a life they haven't even lived yet. But what if I told you that this silent conversation is shaping every decision you make? Today, you're going to discover why the words you speak to yourself every morning are either building an unshakable mind or quietly destroying it. More importantly, you'll learn how the ancient Stoics trained their minds to replace fear with courage, doubt with discipline, and chaos with inner peace. Ignore this daily conversation, and you may spend years unknowingly becoming your own greatest obstacle. Because long before life defeats a man, his own thoughts usually do. Nearly 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius understood something that modern psychology is only beginning to explain. In Meditations, he wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Those words were never meant to be admired. They were meant to be practiced. Think carefully about what Marcus was saying. If the quality of your thoughts shapes the quality of your life, then every morning becomes far more than the start of another day. It becomes the foundation upon which your character is built. Every thought you repeat becomes a habit. Every habit shapes your actions. Every action shapes your future. That is why the first battle of the day is never against the world. It is against the voice inside your own mind. Epictetus understood this truth just as clearly. He taught that it is not what happens to us that determines our peace, but the way we choose to respond. Two people can face the same hardship. One becomes bitter, the other becomes wiser. The circumstance is identical. The response is completely different. That response begins long before the challenge arrives. It begins in the quiet moments of the morning. Today, many people wake up and immediately surrender control of their minds. They reach for their phones before they gather their thoughts. They consume bad news before strengthening their spirit. They allow social media, other people's opinions, and yesterday's problems to decide how they will feel. Then they wonder why anxiety follows them throughout the day. The Stoics chose another path. Before they tried to master the world, they first mastered themselves. That is exactly what this journey is about. Over the next few moments, you'll discover the powerful morning truths that help the Stoics remain calm in chaos, disciplined in temptation, and strong in the face of adversity. Because the way you speak to yourself each morning doesn't just influence your day, it quietly shapes the person you become. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against another person. It is not against your circumstances. It is not against bad luck. It is the battle between the thoughts that strengthen you and the thoughts that slowly destroy you. Every single day, your mind is choosing a direction. It is either moving you toward courage or toward fear, toward discipline or toward comfort, toward peace or toward chaos. Most people never notice this battle because it happens in silence. They simply accept every thought that enters their mind as if it were the truth. When fear speaks, they believe it. When doubt whispers, they obey it. When anger appears, they follow it. Without realizing it, they become servants of a mind they were meant to govern. The Stoics refused to live this way. Marcus Aurelius constantly reminded himself that the human mind must never be left without discipline. He knew that if he failed to govern his own thoughts, the pressures of ruling an empire would soon govern him instead. Think about the weight he carried. Wars on the borders, political betrayal, disease spreading through Rome, the responsibility of millions of lives. Yet despite all of it, he understood that his greatest enemy was never outside the palace walls. It was the thoughts he allowed to live inside his own mind. That is why he returned again and again to the same principle. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Notice what he didn't say. He didn't promise an easier life. He didn't promise that people would always be fair. He didn't promise success without struggle. He simply reminded himself where real power had always existed, within. Epictetus built his entire philosophy on this same foundation. He taught that no person can steal your peace without your permission. People may insult you, they may reject you, they may misunderstand your intentions. But the moment you allow their actions to determine your inner state, you hand them authority that never belonged to them. Imagine your mind as a great kingdom. Every morning, different visitors arrive at its gates. Fear arrives. Anger arrives. Envy arrives. Anxiety arrives. Regret arrives. Most people throw open the gates and allow every visitor to sit on the throne. Then they wonder why their lives feel so disordered. The Stoics welcomed a different ruler. Reason. They allowed emotions to enter, but they refused to let emotions become king. That distinction changes everything. Fear can warn you, but it should never command you. Anger can reveal injustice, but it should never control your actions. Sadness can remind you of what matters, but it should never convince you that hope is gone. Every emotion has a voice. None of them deserve the final word. This is why your morning conversation matters so much. Before the world has the chance to fill your mind with noise, you must fill it with truth. Tell yourself, today, I will guard my thoughts more carefully than my possessions. Today, I will refuse to surrender my peace to things beyond my control. Today, I will choose reason before reaction. These are not empty affirmations. They are daily reminders of who you have chosen to become. Because the strongest men are not those who never experience fear. They are the ones who refuse to let fear become the author of their lives. And every morning gives you another opportunity to make that choice before the world ever asks it of you. One of the biggest mistakes a person can make is believing that peace comes from controlling everything around them. They think, if people treated me better, I'd be happier. If I had more money, I'd finally feel secure. If life stopped being so difficult, I'd finally have peace. So they spend years chasing the perfect circumstances, the perfect relationship, the perfect career, the perfect opportunity, the perfect future. But no matter how much life improves, peace always seems just out of reach. Why? Because they are searching for something in the outside world that can only be built within. The Stoics understood this better than almost anyone. Epictetus taught one of the most liberating truths ever spoken. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. At first, those words sound simple. But if you truly understand them, they can change the way you live forever. Think about your own life. How many times has one careless comment ruined your entire day? How many nights have you lost sleep because of something someone said? How often have you replayed the same conversation over and over, wishing you had answered differently? The event lasted only a few minutes, yet your mind continued carrying it for days, sometimes even years. The problem was never the event itself. The problem was giving it permission to live rent-free inside your mind. Marcus Aurelius knew that every day he would encounter difficult people, people who lied, people who complained, people who acted selfishly. Instead of hoping they would change, he prepared himself. He reminded himself that he could never control another person's character, but he could always control his own. That is real freedom. Because the moment your peace depends on other people's behavior, you stop being free. Imagine holding a rope. On the other end is someone who constantly insults you. Every time they pull the rope, you react. They become angry. You become angry. They become negative. They become negative. You become negative. They lose control. You lose control. Without realizing it, you've handed them complete authority over your emotions. Now imagine something different. Instead of pulling back, you simply let go of the rope. Suddenly, the struggle ends. Not because the other person changed, but because you stopped participating. That is exactly what the Stoics practiced. Not weakness, not avoidance. Freedom. freedom from allowing other people's actions to determine your inner state. Every morning, before the world has the opportunity to test your patience, remind yourself of this simple truth. I cannot control what people say. I cannot control what people think. I cannot control what life places in front of me, but I will always control the kind of person I choose to be. Those are not just comforting words. They are a declaration of responsibility. Because every time you stop trying to control what has never belonged to you, you recover the energy to master what always has, your own mind. That is why the Stoics never waited for life to become easier before they found peace. They understood something the world still struggles to learn. Peace is not the reward for perfect circumstances. It is the reward for mastering your response to imperfect ones. And the moment you begin living that truth, you stop being a prisoner of the world around you and begin becoming the master of the world within. Whether you realize it or not, you are speaking to yourself every single day. The question is, what are you saying? Because those quiet conversations are becoming your beliefs, and your beliefs are becoming your life. Most people don't wake up encouraging themselves. They wake up reminding themselves of everything that's wrong. I'm not good enough. I'll probably fail again. Nothing ever works out for me. Maybe I'm just not capable. They repeat these thoughts so often that they stop questioning them. Eventually, they accept them as facts. And when a man believes he is weak, he begins making weak decisions. This is why the Stoics paid such close attention to the inner voice. They understood that before you can master your actions, you must first examine your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius constantly corrected his own thinking. Meditations was never written to impress anyone. It was his private journal, filled with reminders designed to keep his mind from drifting toward fear, anger, pride, and despair. Even an emperor needed to remind himself of the truth. So why should we expect to be any different? The difference between a disciplined mind and an undisciplined one is not intelligence. It is repetition. Every morning, you are repeating something. The only question is whether you are repeating truth or fear. Imagine planting a seed every morning. If you plant seeds of doubt, don't expect confidence to grow. If you plant resentment, don't expect peace to appear. If you plant excuses, don't expect discipline to flourish. The harvest always reflects the seed. Your mind works the same way. Every thought you repeatedly nourish eventually becomes part of your character. Seneca understood this when he wrote that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Think about how much time people spend worrying about things that never happen. They imagine failure before they've even tried. They expect rejection before they've even spoken. They assume the worst before life has given them any reason to. By the time the opportunity arrives, they've already defeated themselves. The battle was lost long before reality ever had a chance to test them. That is why your morning conversation must become intentional. Instead of feeding fear, feed your principles. Instead of repeating your limitations, repeat your responsibilities. Instead of asking, what if everything goes wrong? Ask, what kind of person will I choose to be, no matter what happens? There is a profound difference. One question creates anxiety, the other creates strength. Before the noise of the world reaches you, remind yourself, today, I will choose character over comfort. Today, I will keep the promises I make to myself. Today, I will not allow temporary emotions to make permanent decisions. Today, I will focus on what is within my control and release what is not. These are not empty affirmations meant to make you feel good for a few moments. They are daily commitments, promises made between you and your own conscience. The Stoics believe that a person's character is not revealed in a single extraordinary moment. It is revealed in the ordinary moments that nobody sees. The quiet choices, the unseen disciplines, the thoughts repeated every morning before the world even knows you're awake. Because in the end, the life you live tomorrow will be shaped by the words you choose to believe today. So choose them wisely. Your future is already listening. Most people spend their lives trying to conquer the world. They want more money, more influence, more respect, more success. more recognition. They believe that once they achieve enough on the outside, they'll finally experience peace on the inside. But the Stoics saw through this illusion long ago. They understood that no external victory can compensate for an internal defeat. You can build a successful career and still lose control of your emotions. You can earn admiration from thousands of people and still secretly dislike the person you see in the mirror. You can possess wealth, status, and influence, yet remain a prisoner of fear, anger, and insecurity. That is why Marcus Aurelius never made conquering Rome his greatest ambition. His greatest ambition was conquering himself. Every day he reminded himself that ruling an empire meant very little if he could not first rule his own mind. That is a lesson many people still need today, because the hardest person you will ever lead is yourself. Think about it. It's easy to make promises when you're motivated. It's much harder to keep those promises when nobody is watching. It's easy to speak about discipline. It's much harder to choose discipline when comfort is calling your name. It's easy to talk about patience. It's much harder to remain calm when someone insults you. That is where real character is revealed, not in public, in private. The Stoics believe that every difficult moment asks the same question: who is really in control? Is it your principles or your impulses? Is it your wisdom or your emotions? Is it your purpose or your comfort? Every choice is shaping the answer. Seneca once observed that no amount of external success can satisfy a person who remains divided within themselves. That explains why so many people continue chasing more. More possessions, more applause, more achievements. They believe the next accomplishment will finally quiet the unrest inside. But inner peace cannot be purchased. It must be cultivated. Imagine trying to build a magnificent house on unstable ground. No matter how beautiful the walls become, no matter how expensive the materials are, the foundation eventually determines everything. If the foundation cracks, the house follows. Your inner life is that foundation. Your thoughts, your values, your discipline, your integrity. Everything you build externally rests upon them. This is why your morning conversation matters so much. Before asking, "How can I become more successful?" ask something far more important. Can I trust myself? If you promise discipline, do you keep your word? If you promise honesty, do you choose truth when lying would be easier? If you promise courage, do you move forward even while fear walks beside you? These are uncomfortable questions. But growth has never been built on comfortable questions. It has always been built on honest ones. So, before you try to conquer another challenge, before you chase another goal, before you seek another opportunity, win the first battle, the battle within yourself. Because when you become a man who can trust his own word, who can govern his own emotions, who can remain faithful to his principles when no one is watching, you possess something far more valuable than success. You possess character, and once character becomes your foundation, no circumstance, no criticism, and no setback can ever truly defeat you. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that peace comes from changing the world around them. They think, if I could just earn more money, I'd finally be happy. If people appreciated me more, I'd finally feel confident. If life became easier, I'd finally have peace. So they spend years chasing things they can never fully control. More success, more recognition, more approval, more comfort. Yet no matter how much they gain, something still feels missing. Why? Because they are trying to solve an internal problem with external solutions. The Stoics warned against this long before the modern world existed. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself almost daily that real strength never comes from controlling other people or perfecting your circumstances. It comes from mastering your own mind. That is where freedom begins. Think about how much energy people waste trying to change things that have never belonged to them. They want everyone to understand them. They want everyone to agree with them. They want life to follow their plans. They want every outcome to match their expectations. And when it doesn't, they become frustrated, not because life has failed them, but because they expected life to obey them. Epictetus offered a completely different way of living. He taught that the moment you stop demanding control over what is outside you, you finally gain control over what is within you. That simple shift changes everything. Imagine carrying 2 heavy bags every day. One contains things you can control: your attitude, your discipline, your honesty, your patience. The other contains things you cannot control: other people's opinions, the past, the future, the weather, unexpected setbacks. Most people spend their lives carrying the second bag. It grows heavier every year. The Stoics tell us to set it down, not because it doesn't matter, but because it was never ours to carry. The moment you stop fighting reality, you recover the strength to improve yourself. Every morning, remind yourself, today, I will focus on my character before my circumstances. Today, I will guard my peace instead of chasing people's approval. Today, I will choose discipline over distraction, wisdom over impulse, and responsibility over excuses. These are not simply encouraging words. They are daily decisions. Because every decision either strengthens your character or weakens it. The world will always offer you reasons to become angry, discouraged, impatient, or afraid, but it can never force you to become those things. That choice has always belonged to you. And the day you truly understand that, you stop chasing control over the world. You begin mastering the only kingdom that has ever truly been yours: your own mind. Most people believe freedom means being able to do whatever they want. The Stoics believed something very different. They believed that a person who cannot control themselves is never truly free. Think about it. If your happiness depends on someone else's approval, are you free? If one negative comment can ruin your entire day, are you free? If anger controls your words, if fear controls your decisions, if anxiety steals your sleep, if comfort determines your actions, who is really in control? Certainly not you. Epictetus understood this better than anyone. Though he was born into slavery, he taught one of the most powerful lessons in Stoic philosophy. No person is free who is not master of themselves. At first, those words seem almost impossible. How could a man who was once physically enslaved speak so confidently about freedom? Because he had discovered something many people never do. The greatest chains are often invisible. They are forged from resentment, from comparison, from endless craving, from the desperate need to control what was never ours to control. Many people spend their entire lives trying to escape external prisons while remaining trapped inside their own minds. The Stoics chose another path. Instead of asking, "How can I control the world?" they asked, "How can I control myself?" That question changes everything. Imagine standing before a mirror every morning. Instead of examining your appearance, you examine your character. You ask yourself, did I allow fear to guide me yesterday? Did I react when I should have remained calm? Did I complain about things beyond my control? Did I keep the promises I made to myself? These are not questions designed to make you feel guilty. They are questions designed to make you stronger. Marcus Aurelius filled his journal with reminders like these, not because he lacked wisdom, but because he understood that the mind forgets. Every day, it must be trained. Every day, it must be corrected. Every day, it must be reminded of what truly matters. This is why self-mastery is not something you achieve once. It is something you practice every single morning. Some days you will succeed. Some days you will fail. Some days old habits will return. Some days doubt will speak louder than confidence. When that happens, do not condemn yourself. Begin again. Seneca reminded us that as long as we live, we are still learning how to live. That means growth is not measured by perfection. It is measured by persistence. Every morning you choose wisdom over impulse. You become stronger. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort. You become stronger. Every morning you choose gratitude over resentment. You become stronger. Slowly, almost without noticing, your inner world begins to change. The things that once disturbed you lose their power. The opinions that once controlled you become irrelevant. The fears that once held you back become smaller. Not because life became easier, but because you became stronger. And that is the greatest freedom any person can ever possess. Not the freedom to control the world, but the freedom to remain master of yourself, no matter what the world places in your path. One of the greatest lies people believe is that yesterday has the power to control today. They wake up carrying old mistakes, old regrets, old disappointments, old failures. Without realizing it, they allow yesterday's pain to become today's identity. They say, "I've always been this way. I've failed too many times. It's too late for me to change." Those thoughts feel true, but they are only true if you continue believing them. The Stoics refuse to let the past become their prison. Marcus Aurelius understood that every sunrise offered him something priceless, a new opportunity to live according to reason, not according to yesterday's emotions. Think about that for a moment. Yesterday may have been filled with mistakes. You may have lost your temper, broken a promise to yourself, allowed fear to make your decisions, wasted time chasing things that never truly mattered. None of that has the authority to define today. Only your next choice does. That is why the Stoics treated every morning as a new beginning. Not because the past disappeared, but because they refused to let it dictate the future. Seneca believed that one of the greatest wastes of life was carrying yesterday's suffering into a day that had not yet asked anything of you. How many people do exactly that? They relive an old argument before breakfast. They replay a painful memory on the drive to work. They continue punishing themselves for mistakes they've already learned from. In doing so, they lose the only moment they actually possess, the present. Imagine climbing a mountain while carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones. Each stone represents an old regret, an old failure, an old disappointment. The higher you climb, the heavier the journey becomes. Then someone asks a simple question. Why are you still carrying those stones? You look inside the bag. Most of them serve no purpose anymore. Yet you've become so accustomed to carrying them that you've forgotten they can be put down. Many people live exactly like that. The Stoics invite us to travel differently. Learn from yesterday. Do not live in it. Every morning, remind yourself, I cannot change what has already happened, but I can change the person I choose to be today. I will not carry yesterday's anger into today's opportunities. I will not allow yesterday's failures to steal today's courage. These are not words of denial. They are words of freedom, because growth has never belonged to the person who never falls. It belongs to the person who keeps rising. Marcus Aurelius never expected himself to be perfect. He expected himself to improve. That is all life asks of us, not perfection, progress. One wiser decision, one calmer response, one more act of discipline than yesterday. Over time, those small choices become a different life. The past will always remain behind you, but it never has to remain within you. Every sunrise places a new choice into your hands. The question is not what happened yesterday. The question is, who will you choose to become today? There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize they have been chasing the wrong things. They chased approval, believing it would bring confidence. They chased success, believing it would bring peace. They chased comfort, believing it would bring happiness. Yet even after achieving many of those things, something still felt incomplete. The reason is simple. Nothing outside of you can permanently fix what is broken within you. The Stoics understood this truth long before the modern world became obsessed with status, comparison, and endless achievement. They knew that the quality of a person's life would never rise above the quality of their character. That is why every morning they began with themselves. Not with the world, not with other people, with themselves. Marcus Aurelius never asked whether Rome would become easier to govern. He asked whether he would become wiser, more patient, more disciplined, more just, because he understood something that many people spend their entire lives trying to learn. When you become better, your decisions become better. when your decisions become better, your habits begin to change. When your habits change, your life quietly changes with them. Everything begins within. Think about the person you hope to become. Someone who remains calm under pressure. Someone who speaks with honesty even when lying would be easier. Someone who keeps their word. Someone who cannot be manipulated by praise or destroyed by criticism. That version of yourself is not created by one extraordinary decision. It is created by hundreds of ordinary ones. One disciplined morning. One honest conversation. One moment of patience instead of anger. One courageous action instead of another excuse. Day after day. Week after week. Year after year. This is how character is built. The world celebrates dramatic transformations. The Stoics celebrated daily practice. Imagine watching water fall onto a large stone. One drop changes nothing. 100 drops seem insignificant. 1,000 drops still appear weak. But after years of patient repetition, the stone begins to change shape. Not because the water was powerful once, because it remained consistent. Character grows in exactly the same way. Every time you choose gratitude over resentment, you shape your character. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you shape your character. Every time you refuse to surrender your peace to someone else's behavior, you shape your character. The changes may feel invisible today, but they are happening. Seneca reminded us that every new beginning comes from the end of another beginning. Every disappointment creates an opportunity to become wiser, if we are willing to learn from it. Every failure can become instruction instead of identity. Every difficult season can prepare us for responsibilities we are not yet ready to carry. That is why the Stoics never wasted their suffering. They searched for the lesson hidden inside it. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they asked, "What is this experience teaching me?" That single question transforms everything. It turns setbacks into teachers, pain into growth, failure into wisdom. The obstacle no longer becomes an enemy. It becomes part of your education. Modern life encourages us to chase constant comfort. The Stoics encouraged us to pursue constant improvement. There is a profound difference. Comfort asks, "How can I avoid difficulty?" Wisdom asks, "How can I become stronger because of it?" Every morning gives you another opportunity to answer that question. Before the world tells you what to fear, remind yourself what you stand for. Before distractions compete for your attention, choose your priorities. Before circumstances attempt to control your emotions, decide the kind of person you will be, regardless of what happens. Tell yourself, "Today, I will choose principles over popularity. Today, I will choose progress over perfection. Today, I will become a little wiser than I was yesterday." You don't need to transform your entire life in one day. The Stoics never expected that. They simply expected themselves to improve. One decision, one habit, one morning at a time, and eventually, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop chasing the life you once wanted, because you slowly become the person who can create it. That is the quiet power of Stoicism. It does not promise to change the world around you. It teaches you to change the one person who has always held the greatest influence over your destiny, yourself. As this journey comes to an end, remember one simple truth. Nothing you have heard today will change your life, not by itself. Understanding Stoicism is not enough. Agreeing with Stoicism is not enough. Even feeling inspired is not enough. Your life changes only when these principles become the way you live. That was the difference between the Stoics and everyone else. They didn't collect wisdom, they practiced it. Marcus Aurelius didn't fill the pages of meditations because he wanted future generations to admire his thoughts. He wrote them because every morning he needed to remind himself what kind of man he wanted to become. He knew that the mind easily drifts toward comfort, anger, fear, and distraction if it is left unguarded. So every day he began again, and so must we. The truth is, there will still be difficult mornings. There will still be days when fear feels stronger than courage. There will still be moments when your emotions try to take control. There will still be setbacks that test your patience and people who test your character. Stoicism never promised to remove those challenges. It promised to prepare you for them, because a calm mind is not built when life is easy. It is built by choosing wisdom when life becomes difficult. Think about the person you want to become 5 years from now. Picture them clearly. They walk with quiet confidence. They don't panic when problems appear. They don't need constant approval to know their worth. They don't waste energy arguing with people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They don't allow temporary emotions to make permanent decisions. They have learned to master themselves. Now ask yourself an uncomfortable question. What daily choices would that person make that you're not making today? That is where your transformation begins. Not next month. Not next year. Today. Because your future is being built by the decisions you repeat every morning. Imagine a sculptor standing before a massive block of marble. To everyone else, it looks like ordinary stone. But the sculptor already sees the masterpiece hidden inside. Each strike of the chisel removes something unnecessary. Slowly, patiently, the true figure begins to appear. Your character is shaped in exactly the same way. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, you remove another weakness. Every time you choose gratitude instead of resentment, you remove another weakness. Every time you choose courage instead of fear, you remove another weakness. The goal is not to become someone else. The goal is to remove everything preventing you from becoming who you were capable of being all along. That is why the conversation you have with yourself every morning matters so much. Those words become your decisions. Your decisions become your habits. Your habits become your character. And your character becomes your destiny. Seneca reminded us that while many people believe life is short, the real tragedy is how much of it is wasted. We postpone discipline until tomorrow. We postpone forgiveness until tomorrow. We postpone our purpose until tomorrow. But tomorrow has stolen more dreams than failure ever has. The only moment that has the power to transform your life is the one you are living right now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Those words are not meant to create fear. They are meant to create urgency. Every sunrise is a gift. Every day is another opportunity to become more patient, more disciplined, more courageous, more honest, more peaceful. Do not waste that opportunity waiting for perfect circumstances. Begin with the life you have. Begin with the mind you have. Begin with the choices you can make today. Before this video ends, I want to leave you with one final challenge. Tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, before you check the news, before you allow the world to tell you how to think, spend just 5 quiet minutes with yourself. Remind yourself who you are. Remind yourself what you stand for. 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 Then step into the day with intention instead of reaction. Because the world does not need another person chasing approval. It needs more people who have mastered themselves. And never forget this. The strongest conversation you will ever have is not with another person. It is the one you have with yourself every single morning. Choose those words wisely, because they are quietly creating the person you will become.